Welcome, everyone, to the September 10th edition of the Signals from Mars live stream, brought to you by the Mars Attacks podcast and the VMRIT.com, my web design freelance business. So there you guys go. I am joined today by some of my patrons. We are going to be discussing Judas Priest tonight. And real quickly, before we start the show off, I do want to dedicate this show to Rocking Ron, who passed away last week. Was a good friend to Decibel Geek Podcast and to a lot of other podcasts that are out there. Also want to, as it is officially 9/11 for me and actually for Johan as well, for someone like myself who actually lived 9/11 in person from about 100 yards away. This day has always been significant to me. Definitely changed the world, changed me, definitely. And I've talked about 9/11 on national radio here in Spain. It was funny because last year a news network reached out and called me, and they didn't want to speak to me. They wanted to speak to my brother. My brother was with me because we were picking up computer equipment in New York. And they said to me, it was just the oddest thing. They were like, oh, we don't want to talk to you because you were only on national radio and your brother was on national TV and in a national newspaper. I'm like, well, what does it matter? And I told the lady, I said, he's not going to want to talk to you about this. I said, I'm willing. I don't really like talking about it, but I'll do it. And my brother told him to go scratch, but whatever. Anyway, I've always talked about the victims. I don't know anything about conspiracy theories or anything else. I know what I saw. It's something that still lives with me, unfortunately, to this day, and it will until I'm gone, basically. That is it. Anyway, let's get into some music here. Let's talk about some Judas Priest. And we have some of my patrons here. Let's see. Brad Dahl is saying he can't get in. Steve Hoker is saying he can't get in either. Okay, hold on. Let me try to get these people in here.
Yeah, get these bastards in here.
Let's see, Steve. I'm sending you the link right now. See these people in. I tried to work this out this week, and they said, "Oh no, this link will work. Don't worry about it." And apparently,
how you doing, Jeremy?
Sorry.
How you doing, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, you.
How about you, Johan? Everything good?
Everything is good. It's midnight in Sweden.
Nice.
Yeah, you're an hour on from us. Yeah.
You see that? I'm a Cowboys fan. That was bullshit last night. If you're an NFL fan, that was bullshit. I'm getting so much shit from my friends because, I'm like, everybody else is a Bears fan, but I'm a Cowboys fan. And they're like, oh, you guys choked last night. I'm like, no, we really didn't. But yeah, fuck you.
let's see if we can get these guys in here.
I know Brad would appreciate the socks, the White Sox, logo.
Yeah.
Brad is a huge Dodgers fan.
Well, he likes white too.
Johan is a big. Somebody just. All right, there is. All right, so we've got Dodgers garb and we've got White Sox garb going on.
Hi, Brad.
Hey guys, I'm still getting my poop in a pile here.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get Steve in here now.
I got in here before Steve.
Yeah, he's having trouble. I tried to get. I spoke to the streaming company and told them these links go dead after. There he is. All right, Steve Hoker is here now.
Hi, Steve.
So
Hello.
now that
Steve.
everyone is
Wow.
here, we can start.
All right, let's test that out.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk Judas Priest, and just like every other band discussion that we've done, we're going to talk about basically the album that turned us on to the band, our 3 favorite tracks off of that album, and then we'll do another round discussing whether we got to see them live or not. And what we'll do here is we're going to go in order of newest patron to last. For those that want to join one of these discussions in the future, it's one of the perks of being a patron. So it's easy. Patreon.com/Mars Attacks Podcast. And you can join all of us here. So we're going to start off. And also, this is going to work to this person's advantage because it is late for him. It's late for me, too, because we're in the same time zone. But we're going to start with Johan in Sweden. Let's see.
All right,
Let's
Johan.
give Johan center stage here. And Johan, is there a
Where
point
did he
in
go?
time for you where you are in Sweden where it's daylight for 24 hours a day?
His attorney has advised him not to answer that
Let's
question.
see.
Yeah.
Johan, can you hear me?
Oh, not to answer that question.
Oh, let's see. Johan.
I love it.
Technology.
Yeah, technology is amazing.
He's on his phone, so I don't know if.
Uh,
No.
He can't hear me. Okay. Um.
all right. I thought I was the one who was screwing things up.
No. No one's screwing anything up.
Of course not.
Okay.
So while we're waiting for Johan, how's everybody doing? Steve, how you doing down there?
I'm doing all right. How about
Yeah?
you?
Oh,
How about you?
doing great. I've had like maybe 8 hours of sleep this whole week.
Sound. I can
Oh.
see
Oh, wait,
you
he's
guys.
back.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
wait, we can hear him now.
I hear him.
I can hear you, or we can hear you.
Okay, good for you, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
Can we do sign signals? Get an interpreter for get an interpreter for
You go
the
ahead and I will try
Swedish.
to see if I
Okay,
can
wait.
fix
Let
it.
me see if I can make this work.
Swedish interpreter.
Okay.
All right, Jeremy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Brad. Yeah. Do you?
Man, it's good to see. Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. And Rob.
Yeah, doing fantastic. You know, how about you, Brad?
All right. Yeah. Other than, like I said, I'm worn to a frazzle. I last night I felt like I was like really messed up, and then I just decided to sleep till noon today, and now I feel like a brand new old man. So it's good.
Awesome. As long as you don't get any more bleaching, you're fine.
Yeah. No, we're trying to keep things. We're trying to keep things coming in the front door.
Not in the back door. Yeah, I get it.
No, nothing. No parking in the rear.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do, Rob. We're gonna go to you first, then.
Oh
If we're
man,
going in this order.
it's gotta be me first.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
going in newest to oldest here. So essentially, what you need to do is just let us know what your favorite Judas Priest album is.
No, you said first.
Yeah,
Well,
come on.
What do you mean first?
You said first Judas Priest album. That's what you said when you came around. You said, what was your first Judas Priest album? Did I? Or maybe I haven't had a lot of sleep. Okay, so
anyway. that would be why you would say that. But it's always been, what is the album that got us into the band?
There you go. Yeah, that was it. Which would be the first album usually.
Okay, so go ahead, Rob. What is the album that got you into Priest?
Well, it would be Painkiller. It's not my favorite, but Painkiller was my introduction. And a buddy of mine was like, "You gotta check these guys out." I'm like, "Yeah, no worries, because he was always showing me, all the hard rock, heavy metal bands at the time, because I was kind of like on that pattern of Kiss, Aerosmith, what have you. And he was like, check this one out. So yeah, I would go with Painkiller.
Okay, so then what would you consider your favorite Judas Priest album?
Firepower, without a doubt.
Okay,
without
cool.
a doubt.
What are your 3 favorite songs off of Firepower?
Oh my God, I'm not good with song titles, but I could say song 1, song 3, and song 6.
Okay,
I'm just not a good person with names. I'm just not.
Okay. Song number 1 is Firepower, the title track. Song number 3 is Evil Never Dies, and what was the other one?
Song 6.
Song 6, Children of the Sun. Okay, awesome. Let's go. We'll come back around with concert stories. That is, if any of you guys have seen them, I'm sure. Well, I know that Jeremy has. I have seen them a few times. Let's see. So the next one in order. Well, let me see if we can get Johan back. Johan, can you hear us?
Or Johan.
Okay. This is going to be a running gag through this.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. All right.
I'm so sorry for him.
Let me see.
You look good, Johan.
Johan.
No.
Okay. Let me.
Well, make sure that he doesn't have himself muted on the page too, because I did that earlier. I was like, "Oops."
Okay.
We love you, Johan.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, Rob to the rescue.
I have that effect on people.
There he is. Are you there?
No, I guess he can't hear us. Anyway, let's just go with this. Okay.
Oh my.
Poor Johan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, toast to Johan.
It would be great if I could type the correct question. Can you hear us now, Johan? No.
What are you wearing?
We're gonna have to switch from unmuting Johan to muting Brad so we can.
or Or we're gonna have to switch to TikTok, something.
Yeah. Now you know what it's like to work with me.
This show's going to need a lot of editing, Victor.
No shit.
Yeah, we're trying to make this easy for you, Victor. All right.
Okay, you can hear me. Too
Yeah.
bad I can't hear
Yeah.
Johan.
My first
Welcome back,
Judas
buddy.
Priest was I bought this, a record on a budget price, a best of record. I bought it for like 30 Swedish crowns, which is €3, and it had the Ripper, Victim of Changes, Rock'n'Rolla, and all that songs. And I didn't like it so much because it was too soft for me back then. And then I I heard British Steel, which was one of the best records I've ever heard. I was young, and songs like Rapid Fire and Breaking the Law was groundbreaking for me. That was around 1982 or 83 I heard it. Then I bought Defenders of the Faith, and the rest is history. And Defenders of the Faith is my absolute favorite Judas Priest record. Back to you guys. I will try to get this started. It muted when I tried to charge my phone. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, let me get the other questions out, Tim. What are your 3 favorite songs off of Defenders?
Oh, my 3 best songs from Defenders. The Sentinel, Free Will Burning, and perhaps Jawbreaker, back then, Love Bites. The whole record is 10 out of 10. It's a perfect heavy metal record. I still love it to this day.
Wow. I'd vote for the Sentinel too. That's a great song.
Yeah, got to see them play that live. What, on the Epitaph tour? I think they played the Sentinel. It was either the Sentinel or Love Bites. I forget, but it was cool to hear it live. I didn't expect that, and that's one of those hidden classics per se, or one of those albums that you didn't, or one of those tracks you don't normally hear on the radio. So it's cool to hear that. Let's see. So next in line is a guy here that we actually have to coax him to talk because usually is quiet. Mr. Brad Dahl.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Steve. All right. Well, hey, yeah, mine. I got a little story with it, so I'll try not to.
I'm
take too
surprised.
Yeah,
honestly,
I know.
Surprised you have a story. Let's go.
There's always a
So I was
story.
at a urinal, and Rob
Yeah.
Halford is next to me, and I'm like, "You're
Yeah.
Rob Halford."
I can tell you the story about the guy who ate the urinal cake, but we'll pass on that right now.
Oh,
Yeah, his
So-
breath
so
was
hey.
majestic. So in the 70s, okay, that's when I got into the picture here. Was way back in the 70s, and a buddy of mine, CEO Dave's listening, by the way, he's digging this so far. So
Awesome.
the guy that I was playing in a band with in the mid 70s, his name's Ralph Johnson, guitar player, fantastic guitar player, and he went on a Mormon mission in England. So he was over there in England. Don't know where he was, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But he was somewhere over there, and so he would write me letters, and he would tell me what's going on musically over there. And he wrote me a letter, and he said, "You have to find something by this band called Judas Priest." So I went down to the record store. They only had one thing, and that was Sin After Sin. So of course I bought it. Went home, dropped the needle, and it starts off with the Sinner, with I think it's KK coming in there with the and I'm like, what the hell is this? It was so different, but it was very, 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 very cool. And So yeah, I listened to that album a lot, an awful lot, and that's what sold me on the band. Went back from there. I finally found somebody had what was the previous one with Victim of Changes. Come on, help me out, Victor. You know the names of everything. Sad Wings of Destiny. Sad Wings of Destiny. Thank you. Yeah. See, again, no sleep and being old. Not a good combo. And yeah, so I got that, and of course, there's a lot of weird stuff on there. But even Sin After Sin, there's some kind of oddball songs on there. And the funny thing is, at first, I thought they had two singers because like Rob will sing in that lower register, and then the higher one, and it kind of sounds almost like two different guys. And I thought, wow, they got two different singers. That's kind of weird. But then I found out later when I saw them that no, it's just one guy. And that was Stained Class the first time I saw. Well, wait, I'm jumping ahead because we haven't got to that, right?
We haven't got to that yet.
Okay, all right. So favorite songs off of Sin After Sin. The second song, Starbreaker. I still have no idea who Starbreaker is, but I love that song. I love the drums on that. Which, by the way, that's the first time I've ever heard of Simon Phillips. I think he was a teenager when he did that album, and the drumming on that is just. I'd never heard anybody play like that before. All the double bass stuff that he was doing. Yeah, Victor, you can maybe speak to that as a drummer. But yeah, his drumming was just so precise, and it was incredible. So yeah, Starbreaker. Call for the Priest. I'm Dying. What was that song? God, I can't even remember the names of the songs.
Yeah, Call for the Priest.
Yeah, but what's the song? That's kind of the intro. It's also
Let Us Pray, Call for the Priest.
Let Us Pray. Yeah, Let Us Pray. Oh God, that's a killer song. And then what was the song right before? Is that the one before it or after that?
The song before it is On the Other Side. Let Us Pray, Call for the Priest.
Okay. Right. So what's right after Call for the
Raw Deal?
Raw Deal? No, what's after that? That's kind of the intro too. What's the?
You thinking of Dissident Aggressor?
Dissident Aggressor. Oh, Dissident Aggressor. Yes. Oh my gosh, Dissident Aggressor. The drums on that are unbelievable. Yeah, what a great song. So yeah, those are my three favorite songs off of there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we only had to name half of the album for Brad to figure that one out. But that's all right. The next one, no, the next one after that.
It's a good thing you're
I swear I was going to be prepared for this, and well, there you go. That's what I get for swearing. I'll just drink now.
Next up is Mr. Jeremy Weltman, who, unlike the rest of the class, came prepared because look at that.
He's got the shirt.
Defenders behind him, got the Mars Attacks t-shirt. He has a Screaming for Vengeance mug somewhere. He's got a picture disc of British Steel. Or should I say British, given how Rob rolls his R's. The mug, see that?
Well, we all can't be kick-ass, so.
What a great British band, man. What a great British band.
So,
yeah.
Jeremy, your turn. So, when was the first time you heard Priest?
Yeah, the first time was really on a program called Top of the Pops, which I've probably mentioned before. This was on a Thursday night here in the UK. It was 1980. I was 13 years old, very impressionable teenager at the time. And there was a lot of metal coming out, as you know, Iron Maiden, Saxon, all the bands coming out in that year. And Living After Midnight was on Top of the Pops. And I saw this band for the first time, and I was hooked immediately. I mean, what a song. I mean, it's overplayed now, but it's, it was incredible at the time. And just to see Rob and KK and Glenn Tipton playing this, just amazing. And then ever since then, I just loved the band. I loved British Steel, and I loved most of what they did after that, and went back and listened to some of the older stuff. Just incredible.
So for you, what would your favorite album be?
Well, that was a really tricky one because I actually like a lot of their albums, and I like a lot of songs on albums. So there's some albums where I don't like all the songs, but I like a lot of them. And I had to sort of narrow it down as much as possible. And then I sort of went down to British Steel. I got down to Sad Wings of Destiny, which I really play a lot, actually. And I nearly picked that this week, but I actually was in the bath last night listening to Screaming for Vengeance. And I realized that when I first heard Screaming for Vengeance, I realized what an amazing album it is. And for me, at the time and the age I was and the songs on it, that for me is just about pips it.
Cool. So Screaming for Vengeance, definitely a great album. I would say that, and actually, being that it's Screaming for Vengeance, what are your 3 favorites off of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, immediately, the Helion and Electric Eye. I mean, it's not really 2 songs; it's 1 song, as we know. It's sort of, it's the intro and that song, and that, I would say that's my favorite song of all time. I never tire of playing that. I could play it today, I could play it tomorrow, I could play it the day after. Every single day in my life, I could play that song, and it's just amazing. And then, obviously, the title track as well. And then after that, I like all of the album. I mean, I like Riding on the Wind, I like Bloodstone, I like Take These Chains. If I had to choose between them, maybe Riding on the Wind, but, I'm sort of indifferent between the 3rd track, really.
Okay. Jeremy cheating on us, picking multiple songs to make it one elongated song here. But Brad kind of did the same thing too. So Brad, you said,
"Hey, no. They combine them. They kind of did the Black Sabbath thing, where they had the kind of different names for parts of the song."
Right.
So, yeah. The old Black Sabbath. But I got to tell you, one thing that bothers me about Priest is that whenever they play Electric Eye, they never play the Helion or whatever it is, the Helion. They never play that. They always play a tape of it. Yeah, the Hellion. Thank you. They always play a tape of it rather than play it live. It's like, geez, dude, play it live. I think when Halford and his solo band played it, they played it live, and it is so cool. It's so badass. I mean, I've played it with a band. You get both guitars and the harmony stuff going on there. Oh God, it's great.
I'll tell you why the Halford band did that song live.
Because they were good.
Because they couldn't license. How about
Sorry.
because they couldn't or didn't want to license it?
Fair enough. It's all about money. Everything's about money. Damn it.
There you go. Jeremy, one last thing. Last week I did my poor attempt at an English accent. Now you said poor broomy accent, if I'm not mistaken, which refers to people from Birmingham. Yeah. What would a proper Birmingham accent sound like?
Well, if you're from Birmingham, you speak like that. You speak a bit like Aussie and a bit like Black Sabbath and all that sort of stuff going on. That's a proper Birmingham accent, mate.
You know what's funny?
That's awesome.
That was great. What's funny is when we of course now after speaking to Jeremy, because I posted something by the band Monument, whose singer used to be in White Wizard, and he's originally from Greece. And Jeremy right away pointed out, he goes, "That's not a British accent. That's something else mixed with it." So last week, was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago, when I talked to Nick from Ugly Kings, my first thought was, damn you, Jeremy. Now I'm trying to figure out where his accent is from because it wasn't your typical Australian accent. And then he copped to the fact that he's actually from France. So that was, kind of like me. When I speak Spanish, people can't exactly put a finger on where I'm from because it's a mixture of an American accent and a Spanish accent, but it isn't your typical American accent in Spanish. So there you go. Anyway, Steve, we are at the last in line here, the first patron. So you are the last in round one here. So what is your first recollection of Judas Priest?
You might want to get the Price is Right fail horn at the ready.
I can do that actually. Hold on.
All right.
That's
work.
not the right one.
Oh,
I kind of feel like we're doing a university challenge, and we're the young ones.
Right.
There we go.
there you go. I knew I had it. Go ahead.
I would have to say the first time I heard him was MTV.
Okay, no problem.
And I can't even tell you a favorite album by them. I just kind of know songs,
Okay.
but I like the hits.
With MTV, can you recall like what was the first song you saw or first video that you saw by the band?
I'm guessing Breaking the Law.
Okay.
Or you got another thing coming?
Okay. So it's probably like what, like a Headbangers Ball type thing where they were playing it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, if you were to rattle off, you're saying you just know the hits. If you were to rattle off your 3 favorite tracks by the band, what would they be?
Oddly enough, Heart of a Lion, which I know that's technically a deep cut,
Right.
but I actually heard that song first from Racer X.
Right. Me too.
And then looking through the liner notes, I saw that it was a Judas Priest song, and since I wasn't a big fan, I just assumed that okay, it's one of their songs that I just don't know.
Right.
So, but I've always really liked that song. And then after it was years later that I found out that it was like a B-side or unreleased or something weird like that. And then I would say Painkiller's another favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And probably unpopular opinion, but Jugulator.
Okay. The track?
Yeah.
Jugulator?
And I like the album too.
Okay.
Or what I've heard from it. But definitely the title track.
You could have stirred the shit up just by saying that Jugulator was your favorite Priest album.
No, really, what he would have, if anybody would have said Nostradamus is their favorite album, I would have killed myself.
I'm glad I didn't say that then.
Yeah, that is the worst album in history. Who the fuck bought that album?
Sadly, I bought it.
Well,
I couldn't even tell you a song off of it.
Well, I have it too. I actually like a lot of it. But anyway, I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but I like it.
I will say that I've never seen people rush to the bathroom faster than when Priest played songs off of Nostradamus. And they did it on 2 tours. I saw them on the Nostradamus tour. Actually, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I'll come back to that because that's kind of round 2. But for me, all right. I'm actually going to be the last one in round 1, Steve. See, so you're not last.
Good. We're going out with a bang then.
I always tell my wife I should have been named after a Dio album, Last in Line here. So
Oh God.
Here we go. Johan mentioned one of my favorite albums, which is Defenders. Jeremy mentioned one of my favorites, which is Screaming for Vengeance. I love a lot of their stuff, and this is something that I don't know why I didn't remember this when me and Brad were talking weeks ago. But Priest is a band that I also got into later. Like, I like their radio hits because, this is something that I wrote about today, how I feel that Metallica's Black Album helped open up radio in America for a lot of hard rock and metal to start to get played on regular terrestrial radio. Because before that, think about it. At least where I was in the New York area, if you heard Judas Priest, it was Living After Midnight, and that was it until the early 90s. Maybe some Heads Are Gonna Roll when that came out, and that was it. You didn't hear much more of that. So, I mean, Priest really didn't get on the radio until late at night, and people like Eddie Trunk would play Sinner and would play Beyond the Realm of Death and Diamonds and Rust and, a lot of different things that never ended up on regular radio. I mean, I remember as a kid, the station that I would listen to from New York, WNEW, you would have to be up after 10 p.m. to hear stuff like The Sentinel or Love Bites. And you would hear those songs once a week. And that was it. I mean, that was all you got. I will say, and I know I just mentioned Jugulator a second ago, but Demolition is actually one of my favorite albums by the band as well. I know that isn't popular because it was from the Ripper era, but I feel that there are tracks off of Demolition that had Rob Halford have sung that a lot of people would have, considered them classics. It always bums me out that he doesn't sing any of those songs live. Stuff like they talked about doing "Hell Is Home," which is a really cool song, but have never done that. And then I think not the first single off of that, but the two other singles that they released after were kind of cool, which are "One on One" and "Feed on Me." But the album that really got me into Priest and made me go back and dig into the band is Painkiller. Just because of, my age. That came out in, let me just make sure I got the right year here, 1990. Wow, I thought this came out. Okay. So, yeah, that makes sense. So I had a friend who, for my birthday, couldn't afford to buy me anything. So he said that to me. He goes, I can't afford to buy you anything, but here's a 90-minute cassette. One side is Painkiller by Judas Priest, and the other side is No Prayer for the Dying by Iron Maiden. So so that album is the one that got me, really into the band, and it made me go back and really appreciate them. And the thing is, one of the reasons why I couldn't get into the band was that I thought that Rob Halford at the time was very braggadocious. He would come out and he would be on MTV and he would say, there's no other metal band that's as good as us, and we've got the best live show ever, and, all this stuff. And I'm like, what's he talking about, man? I love Maiden and I love Kiss. Priest isn't as good as them, and now with your silly comments, I'm not getting into you. So it was just one of these dumb things that once I went and finally, listened to the band, I realized how good of a band they are. Not good, how great of a band they are, and how quintessential they are. And to me, I know a lot of people don't think this is don't agree with me, but to me, Priest is the first metal band before Black Sabbath, because Black Sabbath has always said we're not a metal band. We're a loud rock band. We're a heavy rock band. So they've never liked that association. Priest has always said, bring it on. We're a heavy metal band. And they took a lot of the blues out, poured gasoline on it, and to me, they were the first band to really, truly put out a heavy metal album. In any event, to me, my three favorite songs off of Painkiller are Hell Patrol, Between the Hammer and the Anvil, and One Shot at Glory. Those to me are my favorite songs off of Painkiller. I mean, the entire album is just stacked front to bottom. And I mean, a lot of the albums that we've mentioned, again, Defenders, Screaming for Vengeance, to me, and even Firepower, I think those four albums to me are by far my favorites out of the entire catalog. But anyway, let's move on to round two here and talk about some live shows. Johan, you gave me the thumbs up, so I guess that means you can hear us, correct?
That is correct. I restarted the program.
Awesome. So, Johan, have you seen Judas Priest in concert?
Yes, I have. I have seen them a couple of times. I have seen them on the Ram It Down tour.
Okay.
And then Painkiller. And then the reunion tour with Rob, when Rob came back. And then after that, perhaps 3 or 4 times. So I have seen them a couple of times. Absolutely. And the best was, I think, Ram It Down and Firepower. Ram It Down because it was my first. I had front row, I was young, and Firepower was really good as well because the times before they seemed tired, but with the new guitar, Richie, is his name Richie?
Yeah, Richie, and then the other one is Andy Sneap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Andy Sneap and Richie. Yeah, it was a better band, and Rob was singing better, and yeah, and Scott Travis seemed more happy.
You always want to keep the drummer happy.
Yeah.
So especially that band who's had, you know, obviously they had Dave Holland for a while, but Brad mentioned Simon Phillips before. They had such a revolving door of drummers for such a long time until they hit on Dave Holland and then switched over to Scott Travis. And two drummers that are completely different. Brad, you mentioned Simon Phillips. I don't know why I keep saying Scott Phillips. But
That's his brother.
That's his brother, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Travis is more of like a metal drummer, where I know Simon Phillips can play a lot of different things, but definitely he's been able to incorporate a lot of the things that, you know, some of the double bass players that they had were doing that Dave Holland didn't do. I mean, I didn't understand why Dave was in the band so long, and supposedly a lot of the double bass stuff on the albums were just drum machines because they knew he couldn't play the stuff. So you think about that, you know, the string of albums from Defenders all the way up to Ram It Down, where they had double bass on certain songs, and it obviously wasn't Dave Holland playing. So just kind of weird.
Yeah, I saw him on the Unleashed tour, and that was the first tour with Dave Holland. So before he actually recorded an album with them, and so they're playing all that old stuff, and he couldn't do it. He really couldn't do it. I mean, it was bad. It was just like, what the hell? What? I mean, you would think they could have had anybody they want playing drums.
Right.
And I kind of have a theory about that, as I heard, of course, British Steel. You know, he worked totally great on that album, but I kind of felt like they wanted, you know, maybe the drummer was kind of, you know, taking a little bit of the spotlight away from the three guys out front. You know, I think they wanted a drummer that wasn't as flashy as Les Binks, because Les Binks was, man, he could play his ass off, let me tell you. But yeah, Dave Holland, man, he just sat in the back. You never really knew he was there. Him and Ian, you never knew they were there.
I was gonna say Dave Holland is the Ian Hill of drummers. But okay, I see that Rob is back. Rob is next here in line. Rob, have you ever seen Priest live?
No.
What?
What? Have you seen them?
Who's screaming at me?
have you seen them at least live on TV? How about that?
Well, of course I see them live on TV.
Okay.
But no, but someone's like, what? What? I'm like, no.
I'm driving to St. Louis. I'm taking you to a concert, dude.
Yeah, come pick me up. I will eventually go. But no, I've never seen him live. You know, it wasn't one of those where it's like, you know, no Judas Priest, dude. You know, I can't go. It was just one of those where it never aligned right. So, but yeah, have I seen him on TV? Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I got to see AC/DC live once, and I never got to see Phil Rudd. I only got to see him on TV. So
there you go. There you go. So whoever's yelling at me, shut up.
You can thank Brad for that.
Yeah. He's like, shut it.
All right, so let's move back over to Jeremy. Jeremy, you just saw them live at Bloodstock.
Yeah. That was the fifth time I've seen Priest. So I saw them at Bloodstock. I'll come back to that in a second. The first time I saw them was in 2005. I saw them at Manchester Apollo with the Scorpions supporting. supposedly supporting, but it was obviously a double headliner, and that was really good because it was KK and Glenn. Really good show, that one. And then I saw them in 2011 at the High Voltage Festival in Victoria Park in London. And just to give you an impression of what they were dealing with on that day, they were headlining. They followed Slash, they followed Thin Lizzy, they followed Queensryche with Jeff Tate, they followed Rival Sons and Skin. So it was an incredible bill that day. The sun was beating down. It was a really good show. And they came out and they really blasted it out, and it was brilliant. Really enjoyed that one. And then I saw them again in 2015 at Manchester Apollo. That was the week after the Bataclan terrorist incident, so there was a lot of checking of people outside, and it was slow to get in, but that was a good show. And also in the same year, I saw them at Download. And then just saw them very recently at Bloodstock Festival on the Sunday. I was quite disappointed with that one, to be honest. I think that they're just about reaching their peak. They're a bit past their prime. I think Rob is looking extremely old. He can sing well, but he's looking now as if he's struggling a bit to even walk around the stage, to be fair. But he's an old man. I've seen the band in their prime, and they were fantastic in their prime. The other thing to say is that I don't think that Andy Sneap is really hitting it off with Richie. I mean, he's great, he's a good guitarist. He's filling in, but it's not the same as watching Glenn and KK together. I know Glenn and KK have fallen out in the past, and they weren't the best of friends. But on stage, they were, a supreme double act, and it's a different thing when you're watching them now.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because they keep saying that Andy is temporary, but I don't know if they're ever gonna, bring someone back. I think we all kind of thought that. Once we saw KK resurface a year ago, I think a lot of people were saying, okay, well, maybe this is a precursor to him coming back, but I don't think we're ever going to see KK back in Priest.
No, I mean, it's a huge saga that's been going on backwards and forwards. There's all this talk about the first letter he sent of resignation, then he sent the second letter where he really had a go at the band. So it sounds as if they're not going to ever have him back. He wants to get back, and we know that he's producing a lot of Priest type music now, and we're looking forward to his new album. It's quite sad in a way, because I'd really like to see him back in the band, but it's not going to happen. And what Priest is now, we're going to have to accept. We're going to have to accept this with many bands. They get old. They're going to change a lot. They played a lot of the hits. Obviously, at Bloodstock, they played a few songs that they don't normally play. They started off with One Shot of Glory, which you just mentioned before. I didn't think that was a great opener, to be honest. I think that would have been a good song to put in the middle of the set. But why didn't they play, Electric Eye? Why didn't they play Judas Rising as the first song? Really get the crowd going with something really in your face. It was a very wishy-washy start. And then they just sort of played through all the hits, and it was all really well done. But there's something a bit missing from them now, and I think it's that's what happens with a band that's been going for so long. But I will be looking forward to obviously new music from them.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you my theory on that in a little bit. Steve, have you ever seen Priest live before?
I have. I saw him at Ozfest.
Oh, you saw him at Ozfest. Okay.
Yeah, one at PNC.
Okay, so you didn't get to see Halford actually sing for Sabbath then?
Nope.
Okay, because that was at the Camden show.
Okay. No.
Yeah, that was either the show before or the show after. I forget. But anyway, so what was it like for you to see them on Ozfest?
It was cool. They were good. honestly, I couldn't even tell you the song they played. But and that's horrible. But my best friend was really into Priest, and they were on the bill, so that was one of the main reasons we went to the show. Or he went to the show. I was going to go anyway, but he was like, "Oh, I want to see Priest."
Cool. So I'll say that Steve did request this before. So Steve, we love you just the same. So
let it be known I didn't vote for Priest.
let it be known that we voted. We did what? Priest, Twisted Sister, Metallica, and I don't remember what the fourth one was.
That's the one he voted
was it
for,
Dio?
right?
May have been Dio.
Yeah.
What I have to do next time is just leave it open. Have you guys vote and or have someone else suggest, and then we'll see what comes out of that. Because maybe I'm just thinking within the same box. So
time to make my burner Patreon accounts.
There you go. If I all of a sudden see that there are 6 T-shirts going to the same location, in Roxbury, New Jersey, I'll know who it is.
I'll change it to Estonia.
There you go.
I'll cover
Change
my
it to
tracks.
Estonia. You'll want the limited edition Sons of Estonia T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, wearing my Mars
Yeah.
Attack
Well. Awesome. I appreciate you wearing it. Jeremy also has his above his shoulder there. Jeremy isn't wearing his because he's going to wait to sell it on eBay in a few years. That's why. When it's actually worth something, he's going to sell it. So
I'm actually going to wear mine tomorrow live when I'm playing a show tomorrow. So I'm going to wear it there. So yeah, everybody in Panguitch will be going, "What the hell is that?"
Well, that's a good thing. That means that they'll check it out and try to figure out what it is.
That's right.
I hope so, man.
Yeah. So I've gotten to see Priest twice. I've gotten to see them during the Nostradamus tour, where we drove like 3 hours to see them. We got to see them for Jeremy and for Johan. Johan, we actually spoke about this team the other day. They played at the there's where Real Sociedad, or however you say it in English, where Isak, who's a Swedish player, plays. And right next to that, they have a whole big sporting complex the team has. And Priest played at a velodrome there. It was Priest, Megadeth, and Testament, and they called it the Priest Feast. And this was for the Nostradamus tour. And like I said, they played the title track, they played Doom, and they played 2 other songs. I don't remember right now. But man, did the floor open up when they played those songs. I mean, people, it seemed like they ran to the bathrooms or to the bar. It was just amazing. I've never seen that before. Then I got to see them on the Epitaph tour, about 40 minutes away outside of Bilbao, Spain. And that was Richie Faulkner's first tour. And it was great. It was, a hits package. And they decided to play Doom off of Nostradamus again. And once again, people just as soon as Rob Halford said, "We're going to play Doom off of Nostradamus," there were just lines of people leaving. Like, if you wanted to go front row, that was your time, because so many people left that there was space everywhere for you to get up there. Jeremy, I understand what you're saying about the band. The biggest problem, or the person you can blame for Priest Live, is Ozzy Osbourne, because Ozzy Osbourne got into Rob Halford's head right around the time he came back to the band. And he had a conversation with Rob and told him, "How do you sing all those songs live without forgetting the lyrics?" And Rob said to him, "What do you mean?" And Ozzy said, "Yeah, I have teleprompters all over the stage because I forget the lyrics all the time."
Yeah. Just to come in there, the first time that I saw them in 2005, Rob was looking down through the whole show, looking down at his feet. And I looked at the band and I thought, what is going on? Why is he not looking at the audience? It was incredible.
Yeah. And people have said, no, it's because his back. It's not his back. He's got fucking 5 teleprompters on the stage. So he sits there and he just looks down at the teleprompters because he started to think, oh my God, I'm going to forget the lyrics. How can you forget the lyrics to Breaking the Law? Oh my God, I only repeated it 7 times instead of 9 times. Oh, I'm going to piss people off. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. I mean, that to me, if you look at the old footage, like the old 82 show that they put out on DVD a few years back, you see him like just dancing all over the stage and doing all this stuff. He's got the crowd in the palm of his hands. And then you look at anything post him coming back, and he's just static most of the time because he's reading the lyrics. It's just not the same. It's cool that you're seeing Judas Priest live. It's cool to hear him. But as you're saying, Jeremy, you couple that with, his age and whatnot, and it just, I don't know. I mean, I get it. They need to continue to pay their bills. But I think that Priest has a big enough following that if they were to release, another album, if they were to release live albums from, throughout their career, or even just do shorter tours. I keep saying this about Kiss, but, these bands don't need to still be playing 100 dates a year.
Yeah.
Especially Rob, because that weighs on his voice, and we all get it. They're getting older. They're, I mean, I have no issue with them using the name without Glenn or with KK there. I mean, they have the license and they have the right to do it. I mean, I've always said this. What are they supposed to do? Stop and start painting houses? It just doesn't make sense. The Judas Priest brand name is just so important and so and just so heavy a load and so legendary that you can't just say, I'm just going to toss it aside, because the name Halford, the name Fight, or anything else isn't going to equate to the same thing. I mean, I get it why KK named his band KK's Priest, because, the connection is there. But, yeah, so we'll see. Brad, you're raising your hand. Let's see.
I really got to go to the toilet. No. Okay, that was my university challenge gag there. Hey, I didn't get to tell my story about the first time I saw him.
You said you got to see them on the Unleashed in the East tour with Dave.
Well, I did, yeah, but that's not the first time I saw him. So
okay,
all right.
Okay. Well, I'm supposed to be a mind reader now.
We were talking about drummers there. Okay, so okay. Yeah, so first time I saw him was on the Stained Class tour. Stained Class, by the way, is my favorite Priest album. I love the sound of it is unbelievable. I love the drum sound on it. I think every song is just incredible. It's Exciter. I mean, come on. How can you get better than that? Okay, so I saw him at the Whiskey. Okay, in Hollywood on the Stained Class tour, and it was they were doing 2 shows a night, and I believe I saw them on the later show, and it's not a very big place. It's really tiny, and the stage isn't really big, so they had them all jammed on there. Les Binks's drums, of course, took up most of the stage. They came out, and Rob, this is pre-leather Rob, okay? He was wearing blue jeans and a white T-shirt. He walks out, grabs the mic, and put his head down and sang. I mean, they opened with Exciter. Sang his ass off. I mean, unbelievable. Hit every note just perfectly. But the funny thing is that when it come to like time for a lead, he would just drop the mic. He was the original mic dropper. He would drop the mic on the stage and walk off. And he would just walk off, and then he'd come right back on, pick up the mic, and sing more. He hardly even talked to the audience or anything, but he nailed it all night long. He was just killing it. So fast forward to the second time I saw him, which is on the Hellbent for Leather tour. Saw him at the Starwood that time, which again is not a very big place. Very cool. Les Binks again, very cool. And all of a sudden, Rob walks out and he's wearing this leather. I mean, just totally leather bikered out. He had the, the mirrored glasses, the aviator glasses, and had the hat on. He had the whip. He had everything. And I'm like, holy crap, what happened to this guy? And he was a totally different person. He was so animated. He was running around the stage. He was going nuts. Somebody threw a rose up on the stage. And he grabbed it and he bit the flower part of it off, and then he spit the petals out over the audience. It was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen at that point in my life. I think it was like 78. I was like, man, whatever happened to this guy? Well done. And he was still singing great. But great story. This is my Spinal Tap moment from that show. You know how Ian Hill never moves, right? He stays in one place. Well, there's a reason for that. At the end, near the end of that show, he decided he was going to move. And he stepped on his cord to his bass and unplugged it. And then he was totally flustered. And so he acted like there was something wrong with his bass, and he walked behind the amp and he got his backup bass, which instead of the Fender that he normally plays was a Gibson EV3 like I had. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. He plugs that in, of course, making lots of noise doing it, and finished the song. But that's why Ian Hill never moves. I mean, that was the last time I've ever seen him move on stage. So, but I mean, talk about that band going through phases, though. I mean, from the first time I saw him, where it was just about just come out and just play your ass off. And then the next time was more about, hey, we're going to like get involved with the audience, do a show. And then the next time I saw him was after, was at the Santa Monica Civic, which is a much bigger place. And that was on the Unleashed tour. And they were good. They were really good, but it was just the drumming was very disappointing. I mean, Dave Holland, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Watching him try to play Sinner was just, it was embarrassing.
Well, that's a good point. Priest has been a band that has always evolved too. A lot of people point out Turbo and Ram It Down as, they did too much of this. Priest was always evolving. If you listen to, the early albums sound nothing like British Steel. Defender, well, not even Defenders. What was the album?
Go to Point of Entry. What a weird album that was.
Yeah, totally different. And they had British Steel was huge. They could have done British Steel too, but they went in a completely different direction with Point of Entry, and it wasn't as big. They came back with Screaming for Vengeance, which is the album that solidified them in America, basically. Defenders did more of that. And then I
feel like those two albums are kind of like part one and part two.
Defenders and Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah. They kind of they're like a continuation of the same theme.
Right.
And then they went back to getting weird again.
Right. No, but and I don't think that any out. I mean, okay, Nostradamus being the only one in my opinion, but I don't think that any album like absolutely sucks as much as even when Rob came back. I think Angel of Retribution, Judas is Rising is a classic, but I don't think any other track off of that album lives up to that song. The other songs are just kind of like copying other eras of Judas Priest. Redeemer of Souls, to me, the production is just so bad that even the songs are even though that the songs are okay, they just don't sound good, and that's why I think with Firepower, having Andy Sneap working it, having Tom Allum come back and working with them, it gave them the right sound, it gave them direction. So when a band like Maiden feels that they don't need a producer, I think Priest proves so many bands wrong that, bands should have an outside ear listening in and saying, yeah, you could do this a little better, you could do that. But anyway, I digress. Since most everyone from the chat is online with us today, I do want to say hello to my brother who just joined us. Let's do one final round here of some parting ideas or whatever. Johan, let me go back to you since it is the latest for you. and we're gonna wrap this up shortly. Final thoughts on Priest. Do you feel that they deserve all of the notoriety that they've gotten all these years?
Notoriety. Say it in another word.
Fame.
Oh, of course. Why shouldn't the song? They have made so many good songs. It's you know, for me, it's I don't know how to say it. I love almost every Judas Priest album very much. So, and here in Sweden, they are still big. They play big hockey arenas. So, for sure, they deserve it. Perhaps, as Jeremy was saying, they're not so good live anymore, but they deserve every fame and penny and dollar that they ever made. They are one of the top 3 heavy metal acts in history, if you mean classic heavy metal. Absolutely one of my favorite bands. Absolutely.
Awesome. And since you always like to promote Swedish bands, what Swedish bands should people be checking out right now that maybe they don't know of?
Ooh, they don't know of. But why not? Horndal.
There you go.
All right.
The latest record is really good.
Horn dog.
Horndal. Like
Horndal.
Dahl, like Brad Dahl.
Oh, Horndal.
Yeah.
Oh, we might be related. Are you sure they're not Norwegian?
No, they're from north of Sweden.
Ooh.
No, but honestly, guys, check them out. They are creating a big following now, and they are some, as I said before, Mike Jones also liked them. So some
I'm buying it now.
See that?
Yeah.
You got Brad to just instantly
I'm
go out
in.
and buy it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, since I can't move to Sweden, I'm going to buy all their music.
Oh, you can move to Sweden. You're welcome.
Yeah, let's talk to your State Department. Okay.
They don't. They'll say, "What's this desert rat coming over here for?"
Exactly. Hey, I'm going to play Rob here. I got to go pick up my son. So I'm sorry, Johan. I don't mean to cut in. You got more to talk about?
Cool. Okay. You have to take off, Brad?
Yeah, I do. So I just want to jump in really quick, though. And first of all, say how awesome it is to see all you guys, especially Rob. How long does it take to order food? Come on, Rob. Jeez. There's this thing called the internet. Okay.
It's a big menu.
I just bought an album while we were talking. I didn't even go anywhere. It was awesome. And thanks for the suggestion. In fact, all you guys got music you want to hear me play, man, throw it my way and I'll put it on the air. Because I love you guys and I love your opinions. So you guys are this is like a family here for me. I love you guys. Yeah, Judas Priest. I saw them on the Firepower tour. It was the only time my son has seen them, and I was really disappointed that was because I talked them up big time, and it was just kind of a little bit kind of going through the motions. There was very little crowd interaction. The guys pretty much just stood there. And it was just all right. I mean, it wasn't awful. It was just not they weren't living up to the level of what the bar that they've set earlier in their career for me. I mean, compared to a lot of other bands, it was great, but for what I know they can do, it was not great. I believe they belong in the top 10 list of all time great bands, just because of great songs, great albums, longevity, great performances, great in concert back in the day, but also their influence on the music scene. I mean, their music has influenced a lot of people. So I'll just leave it at that. Judas Priest, a fantastic band. Steve, I don't know. Steve and I need to hang out. We need to, yeah. He needs to turn me on to more D. Snyder stuff. I need to turn him on to more Judas Priest.
There you go.
We can turn each other on.
Parting words. Any
Wait.
bands featured on Yard Metal that we should be checking out?
Yeah, I'm going to say all the Swedish bands that we play. One of my favorites is Mean Streak. Johan, do you know those guys? Okay. Not only is their music great, but yeah, you should listen to my interview with them on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, type in Yard Metal, and listen to me talk to. I talked to all four guys, and they're not only is their music great, but they're just fantastic guys. The other fantastic Swedish band I like is 220 Volt. You know them, right?
Oh yes,
No?
very well.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, Mats Carlson, good friend, and you know their music. It's not what you call heavy metal, but it's hard rock and very very quality stuff. So I love all of the. There's so much great music coming out of Sweden. I don't know how they do it. So that's my parting shot. So listen to Yard Metal. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like.
Awesome. And Mr. Weltman.
Yeah.
Parting words on Judas Priest.
Yeah, just very, very quickly, I just wanted to point out that there was one album released in the UK which had a different name in the US. You guys know Hellbent for Leather, but we actually know it as Killing Machine. So that's just an interesting issue. I thought I'd just mention that. The other thing is that the influence, we're talking about Judas Priest as an iconic band. If you listen to The Ripper and this was released in 1976, the solo on The Ripper is Dave Murray. I mean, if you listen to it, it's Iron Maiden through and through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so Iron Maiden have obviously taken a lot of what Judas Priest would do, because Judas Priest were going a lot longer before Iron Maiden, as we've talked about, and so big influence there, including the red trousers. So there's an amazing band, and I would say overall they are my favourite British band. They just pip it. I mean, obviously I like Maiden. Obviously, I like Saxon. Obviously, I like Def Leppard, and the list goes on. Diamond Head. But you know, if I only had to take one band on a desert island, it would be Judas Priest.
Wow,
good choice.
Do you think we'll ever see a Maiden Priest tour, which they've rumored that it was in the works like 2 or 3 years ago before the pandemic? Do you think we'll ever get to see them tour together again?
I would say never say never. A lot of these bands have played together. I'm going next year to see Whitesnake and Foreigner and Europe together. So the three of those are playing together. And quite a few bands now want to play together. I mean, we've seen Ozzy playing with Judas Priest next year. So you never know. You just never know. It would be really great to see them both together. Be a good show. I mean, I was surprised when Judas Priest played with the Scorpions. I mean, I just thought that was a strange mix of bands, but they play together. Why not?
Yeah, interesting. That's a bill where you'll possibly see 3 bands, and the only one that may have original members is Europe, because even Whitesnake. He's David Coverdale is grooming the Croatian guy who's supposedly just going to be the keyboard player, but who has one hell of a voice.
Yeah. I mean, DC's brilliant. I've got a lot of love for him, but he's obviously, his voice is a bit shot these days, and he's hanging on there. It's their farewell tour, so let's say goodbye to them in a good way. Yeah,
farewell until again Coverdale retires and says, okay, you guys keep using the name, but I get 80% of the money that you guys are making.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, Whitesnake's going to have more people on stage than Santana.
Than Pink Floyd. All right.
Cheers, guys. And I got to say hi to Arturo. Arturo, it's good to see you here. So you guys are the best. I love all of you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Cheers,
thanks, Brad. Thanks for being on board. Steve, any parting words on Judas Priest?
Fantastic band that I've just never really gotten fully into, but I have nothing but love for them.
You do realize that Twisted Sister used to cover Judas Priest.
I do. And Overkill. They did. They did a cover of the Ripper on, was it WFO? It was like a hidden track on it.
And then they also
Dang.
did Tyrant on, it may be on
Was it
Cover
Coverkill?
Kill.
I
And
think
it
so.
may have also been on, there were 2 Judas Priest covers albums, tribute albums that came out
Okay.
in the 90s where, I don't remember if it was them or if it was maybe Testament who covered that. I have to dig those out. I have them on CD somewhere. But
And,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say go ahead.
No, but I know that Overkill. I've heard Blitz talk about the fact that they did cover Priest in their club days. So there you go.
I don't think I've ever heard him do anything live when I've seen him, but
I think the only cover I've ever heard Overkill do live is Sonic Reducer.
I think if I heard them do that live, but
They did it when I saw them. It was Killfest back in 2012, and they did that. It was the next to last song. I want to think that they did Power Surge, then they did Sonic Reducer, and then they did Fuck You, and then ended the show.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think the only cover I can think of that I saw them play was the first time I saw them. They did the Beavis on Butthead theme song before playing "Hello to the Gutter" or "Hello from the Gutter."
Right. Interesting. All right. Well, for me, there's really, it's funny. I do think that Priest deserves all of the, regardless where they are at this point in time, they deserve all of the credit and the all of the props and fame that they've received over the years. Like I said, to me, they're the first true metal band. I remember when the Talking Metal forums existed, I argued with someone for several days over the influence of Judas Priest. The person was arguing that Slayer had more of an influence on bands than Judas Priest did at the time. And I said, not for nothing, but Priest influenced Slayer. So how can you say that? You know, and you don't notice it and they're playing at all. I'm like, that's stupid. Okay, so you don't notice Peter Criss is playing and Dave Lombardo's playing, but it's him and John Bonham were his 2 biggest influences. That doesn't mean that you can't evolve and have your own sound. So,
right. I think if the reason you started playing music is because of a band, that would make them an influence.
absolutely.
Regardless of if you sound anything like them.
Right. I agree 100%. So, in any event, I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. Brad, who just jumped out. I'm glad Johan finally got his sound working. Jeremy up in the UK. Who's Man City playing this week?
We're playing Leicester away tomorrow.
You're playing Leicester away. What are your chances?
I hopefully we'll win, but you just never know. It's first another away game. The first one we lost at Tottenham, so hopefully we'll be better this time.
What are your thoughts on FIFA wanting to do the World Cup every 2 years?
It's a nonsense, complete nonsense.
Because they don't play enough tournaments and enough stuff already to actually.
I mean, why dilute the excitement of the World Cup every 4 years by having it every 2? And we already have the European Championships anyway, so it's just it's a non-starter.
Yeah, absolutely. Johan, you're a football fan as well. What team do you follow?
I follow Roma.
Okay.
In Sweden, Premier League is huge, and everyone has a favorite team. Almost everyone, especially in my age. Premier League is huge. So Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham, or Arsenal are they have a huge following here in Sweden. Really
City.
big.
but not Man City.
Manchester City.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So I actually know 2 people who follow them, but the biggest is Liverpool, of course.
Yeah.
Here in Sweden.
Big history.
Yeah, we had a player in Liverpool, Glenn. I can't remember.
Awesome. Steve, do you follow Premiership football?
I do not.
You just follow wrestling, correct?
Wrestling and American Ninja Warrior.
There you go.
That's about it.
No one from Man City, I think, has been on American Ninja Warrior. Maybe on if there's a British Ninja Warrior, maybe, but
maybe.
Anyway, guys, I do want to thank you, everyone, for joining us, especially Rob's microphone, who has been very prominent in today's show.
It's not the same without the laugh.
It's not the same without the cackles. That's for sure. So if any of you guys want to hang out for the green room afterwards, you're more than welcome to do so. I know that it's late for some of you, but for those of you that are listening to this or watching live or listening to the replay, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending time out of your day to listen to us talk about music. And we will have another one of these patron shows shortly. In the next few weeks, I will have John Bush of Armored Saint and Anthrax fame. Next Wednesday, we'll have Joey Vera from Armored Saint. And working on rescheduling Danko Jones and possibly Joe Stump. So we will see. We will keep you guys posted. But that is it. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time right here on the Signals from Mars live stream. See ya.